Hello, welcome to KPMG stand at VivaTech. My name is Ruth Svensson. I am our Global Head of People and HR. I've been looking after a lot of clients over the last 2 years with a specific focus on workforce and AI. So how do you increase adoption levels? What does this mean for your workforce shape moving forward? And I'm delighted to be here with one of our key clients to talk about this panel.
Thank you, Ruth. So I'm Jean-David Orange. I'm a partner in the French business, and I'm leading the Workforce AI solution for France. And we are very honored to have with us James Nutt, who's the EVP Global IT of TP. So James, if you can introduce yourself.
Sure, yeah, so I'm James. I've been with TP actually almost 20 years, so quite a long time. I look after a lot of the IT strategy globally, and also I've been working with KPMG on our global Workday implementation. TP is 500,000 employees all around the world. We're 100 plus countries. We serve 200 markets in the BPO, CX, tech services, and also content moderation realm. So quite significant, and our digital employee experience is extremely key to us.
So it's no longer about automation, it's about augmentation. It's about understanding the employee and customer journeys now that AI really is coming into many organizations. Beginning with, we're going to speak about the human and AI, the new operating model. So James, you've mentioned human and AI working together. What does this really mean in practical terms for TP?
So I think as an IT guy, orchestration often means the orchestration between systems. Now, obviously, that's very important. But what we do in TP is take that one step further. In every employee journey, in every customer journey, there is a need for AI, and there is a need for the human or the emotional intelligence that we push forward with in TP. So that orchestration is extremely important to ensure that if a customer can be handled by AI from an initial interaction, then it should be that way, because AI can help to speed up that interaction to resolve problems very quickly. But then having that orchestration to then hand off to a human, where that human is extremely beneficial to that process and adds that value, is absolutely key.
And why at TP did you decide on having an augmentation model rather than a full automation model?
We see AI as a supporting role, not something that's an entire replacement for humans. Having said that, in every interaction or in every journey, whether it's a customer or an employee journey, there is going to be a need for AI to maybe initiate that interaction and then hand off to that human. But certainly, AI supporting is very important. I look at some of these things a little bit philosophical sometimes, I think, and we're looking at a cultural shift with AI, not necessarily a technology project. And what we see is the desire for hyper-productivity, improved efficiency, and AI can really help each individual improve their efficiency, remove the mundane, the boring tasks, and focus on things like innovation, empathy, emotional intelligence. And that's where we see AI as a supporting role and not necessarily replacing the human need.
And Jean-David, when it comes to agentic AI and our clients specifically, what do we and they see as the role of humans?
So the role of humans is actually critical if you want to get the most of AI. It doesn't work if you don't put a human-first strategy. I think most of our clients, they realize now that the feedback we have from them is AI is a very, very complex transformation. And it's a transformation. It's a business transformation. It's a technology transformation. It's a people transformation. And that AI cannot transform your company by itself. So you need people to adopt the new technologies, which requires agility, creativity, change management. And you need to paint a desirable future for your business, which is made of AI, but also people and a human touch that are going to make the differentiation for your clients because in the end, that's what's matter. After you have automated everything, is the human touch for your employee experience and for your customer experience that will remain essential. And this is the bit that the AI cannot do for you. So human is essential for AI.
Absolutely agreed. Thank you, Jean-David. So now, orchestrating the employee journey, and TP has a lot of employees at 500,000. So how are you using AI to support onboarding, training, performance, and I also know you're even looking at well-being.
Recruitment is a huge area for TP. The BPO industry has a very high attrition rate. We hire about 500,000 people every year. We process 2 to 3 million applications every year. It's incredible. We're threading AI into all parts of that journey. And we're leveraging AI screening technology. We're leveraging AI interviewing technology and obviously the traditional AI kind of RPA technology to improve the workflows and to improve the processes around recruitment. If you look at training, we're developing AI coaches around the world to really replicate the human interactions between customer expert and customer. So we're using AI to generate a lot of those interactions. And then also we're looking to deploy more of a higher level coaching. And we're working with a very top university in the US to develop their research on AI coaching. Finally, on well-being, we do a lot of content moderation in our industry. It's very challenging work. And we're working with a company at the moment to thread in AI micro-learnings and also well-being tactics into each interaction, or we're noting where agents need to take a breather, where they need to take some relaxation in their processes and in their workflows, and we're noting that through AI and then threading that in to some of their workflows.
I love that example on well-being.
Very
really.
cool.
Yeah. So KPMG's belief is that you need to start with the workforce to really get the most out of your AI interventions. And have you seen that in practice, James, in the work that you're doing?
I think this really comes down to the adoption. And adoption has been a massive challenge for TP. We took a very splattergun approach just to say, look, give everybody the AI technology and see what happens. That didn't work so well because people don't really know how to adapt their workflows. And again, it's a cultural shift. It's not a technology change. People need to understand how they're going to utilize AI in their day-to-day workflow. So we really worked with adoption partners to then tailor the adoption programs to specific use cases, design training materials, design assets that actually tailored to specific users. What we also found was that democratizing AI out into all the different users for specific use cases worked very well. You have to be very careful with governance, security, and all those sort of things that you keep very centralized. But we've been utilizing a lot, for example, Microsoft Copilot as a real backbone of a lot of our implementation. But that has been a big challenge. We saw adoption go from some 20% to 80% just by tailoring the adoption program that we were implementing.
Yeah, and again, from our perspective, this is the first time when employees really have so many different ways to get from A to B differently. In previous transformations, essentially they would follow a process, they'd implement a system, and they'd follow step by step, this is what you need to do. The challenge with a lot of the AI technologies is there are so many different ways you can get from A to B, meaning that you really need to intrinsically motivate your employees to change and want to adopt the technology, which we typically haven't seen before. So thinking now about the customer journey, TP are leaders in the customer journey space. You've obviously spoken quite extensively about the employee journey. Tell us some more about the customer journey and customer experience and what you're doing.
So we work with the biggest brands in the world. A lot of them bring to us their own AI technology that we are adopting. But also it is our job as customer experience designers as well to ensure that we're putting AI into the most relevant spaces for any customer journey. We look at everything from how the actual customer will be impacted, to how our agents will be impacted, or our customer experts will be impacted with the supporting role of AI.
Yeah.
So we've obviously looked at all the chatbots, the automations. Also, one of the most impactful technologies that we're looking at the moment is KUA. It's computer use automation, which really replaces the whole concept of traditional RPA, which allows you to automate in a user interface. And sorry to put my IT hat on, but automate in a user interface, in an ever-changing user interface. Because I don't know if anybody's used RPA and that sort of thing. When a user interface changes, it changes. So KUA technology is absolutely fantastic, and we're partnering with both Microsoft and another partner to really implement a lot of that. And that's helping us streamline a lot of the CRM practices and a lot of those processes in the customer experience.
So now moving on to scaling with control. So as an EVP of IT, you're orchestrating across tech, data, people and business priorities. What does it take to scale AI responsibly and effectively?
Scaling is back to the adoption program. I think you have to specifically have use cases that you design your adoption program around and make sure you're tailoring to those use cases. Sustainability, a bit of an interesting one. AI consumes a lot of energy. We have to all be very aware of the impact of our use of AI and make sure that we're tailoring the use of AI to make sure it's sustainable. I think it's a fascinating case for everybody to look into, is the sustainability of AI. And then finally, security.
Yeah.
We've really centralized the governance and the security processes around AI, and also working with partners who are giving us low-code, no-code solutions. Microsoft being, a key partner of ours in that adoption of AI. They give a very out-of-the-box approach to the environment to make sure it's secure.
Yeah, no, really good to hear about. KPMG recently did a global survey with the University of Melbourne around trust and AI. I don't know, Jean-David, you were heavily involved in it. Would you like to give us a summary of some of the findings?
Yes, Ruth. So we did a survey across 40,000 people in 100 countries on AI. Some of the insights are no surprise. So 86% of the people, they see the benefits. They can see the benefits in the future for AI, and 66% are already using it in their day-to-day job. The surprise came from trust. Actually, only 46% of people trust AI, and even more surprising, 66% of the people that use AI at work, they do not cross-check the output of the analysis from AI. So as you were saying, James, there's a big awakening at our clients right now to re-centralize the AI topic, to be able to manage the trust, the ethic, the data, the governance around AI, the tools, to be able to bring a trustful AI framework.
Yeah, so there's still clearly a lot of distrust in AI. And I think in terms of why this is, whether it's a fear of it or also, frankly, a fatigue. I know with TP, you will have been through, like many organizations, technology implementation after technology implementation. How are you managing that?
Fatigue is definitely settling in. I think we all got very tired of talking about AI maybe a couple of months ago, maybe a year ago, maybe a couple of years ago. But it's ever changing and it's evolving, so it's super important that we continue talking about the topic. What we're focusing on is the use case-based adoption, making sure that that's very tailored, not that splattergun approach to rolling out AI, and also making sure that we always have human in the loop to monitor bias, to monitor hallucination.
Yeah.
I did a very interesting exercise recently where I took a contract from a vendor and I built an engagement plan. I put it in ChatGPT and I prompted, and ChatGPT produced some hallucinations that weren't even in the contract. It was fascinating, and it created something completely new. So we have to make sure we've always got human in the balance, human in the loop. Checks and balances are super important.
I think the other thing that was interesting that came out of the survey is that when employees trust AI, they're a lot more likely to actually use it. And no surprise, employees that are digitally competent around AI are more likely to trust it, really reinforcing the need to properly upskill around the use of AI in the workplace. Jean-David, what are we doing with our clients in this area?
I think what we do is we try to create something which is aspirational for our clients to make it concrete. So it needs to be aspirational and concrete. So you need to project the people, like an accountant, an HR BP, an IT VP, into their day-to-day tasks of tomorrow, how their tasks are going to be augmented by AI, but also what's the human intelligence tasks that need to be developed or reinforced to create the value, the human value. Once you have this picture which is clear and it's managed by the manager with their team and collectively, you can create a framework to develop the skills and the competencies with the HR, with a big strategic workforce planning at scale. And this is the only way you can adopt an AI at scale. It's really to project the people and their teams into the future, a desirable future. And it's not an easy task.
It's not. And I think what we've seen is that in organizations that have any contradictory messages around any of their, I suppose, people processes, so be it you train them on something, but maybe your employees' goals are not aligned to AI, or leadership aren't role modeling the right behaviors. So there's all of these contextual factors. And if any of them are contradicting your ultimate ambition around AI, we find that employees, Kel surprise, do not adopt AI. So it's really important that those contextual factors and some of the softer stuff is taken very seriously. Now, looking ahead, I have to say these are very uncomfortable seats. So I'm actually going to stand up. I'm kind of getting pins and needles in my bottom. Anyway, so right, looking ahead. If we look ahead to 2030, what does no, you can stay sitting. You stay sitting.
I'm fine. Please. Very comfortable for me.
What does a human and an AI-powered enterprise look like to you?
So I think, so looking forward to 2030, I think I would wish that maybe we'd all just go back into caveman days and maybe just make life simpler. But the honest answer is, I think somewhere in between the hyper efficient human supported by AI and the caveman. So I think that reality is that, yeah, we're going to make sure that we have much more efficiency, be able to innovate, be able to have increased empathy, increased emotional intelligence, and I think that's where we see AI eradicating that need to have to conduct the mundane day-to-day tasks and speed up any workflow.
No, I agree. And for the leaders in the room, just beginning on this journey, what's your one piece of advice?
As an IT guy, I think focus on a specific tech stack. Don't get too confused by lots of the different vendors, I guess, all throwing their technology at you. Focus and nail and double down on certain technologies because this is a cultural change, this is an adoption program, and you have to focus there. Also democratize the use of AI throughout your enterprises. Super important in a secure, governed factor. That's what I would really advise, and make sure you're focused on the security side of it and sustainability as well.
Yes, and a big focus on culture and adoption. So one final question to you both. If you had to describe the future of work in one word, what would it be?
I don't have one word, unfortunately, but it's more of the democratized use of AI, and also the orchestration between human AI is super important. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Jean-David?
I think paradoxically, I would say invest in your people if you want to unlock your AI potential. That's the key for me.
Yes, so the future is human and AI working together and being really intentional and focused and purposeful. Thank you very much. That's the end of our formal question set. Thank you. It's kind.
Thank you.
I don't know if anyone has any questions. We'd love to answer some. Ah, wonderful. There's a question here. I don't know, do I hand my mic? Yes, great. Okay. Is that okay? Or tell me and I can go.
Hi everyone. So I'm Jay. I am from L'Oreal. So I work as a HR data analyst. So my question is to you that you were talking about the customer journeys and how you use AI and all these things. So my question is, when it comes in terms of confidentiality and use of workforce and AI, do you think it might be a problem when you use confidential information in the AI, like ChatGPT or something?
It is a problem using it in the likes of ChatGPT or any cloud-based large language model. What's important is that you partner with the hyperscalers who can isolate those large language models. So you have, all the major hyperscalers do that. So it's your enterprise secure ring-fenced data still in that large language model. That's super important. What you can also do is specifically build SLMs, so small language models, which are more specific to your industry. And it's really about where you store the data and the governance. But there are ways around it, and I think all of the hyperscalers have that ability to isolate that data. But it's definitely a problem putting it into ChatGPT.
Yes.
Definitely.
And my last question is, since we are implementing AI in most of the workforce, like in the commerce section and also in other industries as well, do you feel that instead of in the consulting companies, instead of having more consultants, we will have more analysts?
I have an opinion. Consultants, I think, are the human touch. Unique consultants. I always think the best way to design an AI journey is to literally get a whiteboard and map it out. I know that KPMG have technology around these sort of things now, but I'm used to a whiteboard mapping these things out. Consultants add that. Analysts depends on the type of activities, but there is a very strong use case for AI in data analysis specifically. So I think it might be the other way around. Consultants may thrive.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Thank you so much. Any other questions from anyone? Oh, we've got a talkative bunch today, which is great.
Thank you both. Thank you to the three of you for your intervention. Mr. Nutt, specifically, since your background is very IT heavy, what do you think is the future for people who have a tech background now that AI can do coding, can develop so much of your IT infrastructure?
Very good question. I think more of the solutioning, business relationship management, IT side of things is going to emerge. I think there will definitely be an impact on the coding side of things. We're already seeing that in TP. We're using GitHub, Copilot, and these sort of things to really do that coding. So there's certainly an impact there. IT needs to adapt to be way more business friendly and way more understanding. And I've got one of my CEOs here as well in the audience here. I think she agrees. Way more understanding of how the business works. And that's where, if you can remove some of the coding tasks, we can start to adapt IT to be much more business focused. So I think that's where it's going to emerge. But there's definitely going to be an impact on the coding side of things. For sure.
Thank you for your question. Yes, we have another one over here.
Hi. So in our company, when we were driving the AI strategies, we observed a big difference in different levels of adoption among the different roles. For example, engineers, they have very high adoption. They're already developing their own agents. Well, some of them understand business very well, while the business people, they are still in trying to learn what prompt is the best to use to generate content, right? And then, like you said, there's a huge distrust in between the engineers and the business people, but they have to work together to develop products. I mean, do you have any suggestions how to bring these, two groups of people together?
We had the same experience. We rolled out AI technologies to everybody who asked for it. The first people to ask for it were our leaders. Our leaders didn't know how to use it. So we tailored the adoption plan to specific use cases. So we looked at we pulled back the licenses from all of our leaders, and we said, okay, we're going to reissue them. So we focused on recruitment, QA, workforce management, project management to start off with. Very specific areas that have very well-established processes already, documented processes, so then you can actually give the technology, and then these are very process-driven people as well, to then be able to use it. So to give it to folks who are not so process-driven and don't have a specific workflow is a challenge, because their use cases are more in the generative realm. Like ChatGPT, I want to produce a document, I want to get an answer to a question, that sort of thing. That's really where the managerial or leadership use case is. So I would say certainly tailor to a specific department, and understand and map out the department, and then say, I'm going to give you AI here, I'm going to give you AI here. That's what we did.
And maybe just to add, I think what's important is to combine the people angle, so to be able to project your people in their future roles with the end-to-end value chain process. And this is where you see that the engineers, they have to work with the HR, with the IT, etc. And everybody has a role to play in the value chain. And you can also model how the value chain can be augmented from a quality perspective and a better service perspective, augmented by the human value and also by the automation of tasks or by the AI augmentation. But that requires, a business process owner which is able to lead that transformation together with a combination of people from different departments. Exactly.
Yeah, and I think ultimately a lot of business people are just less used to using the technology. So we find that the adoption journey they need to go on is more intense. They need a lot more hand-holding. So really one-to-one coaching around how to use things. Something that's worked very well with a number of our clients is also really focusing on leaning into some of the cognitive biases that people have around things like wanting to be part of something exciting. So the scarcity effect, which is a well-known cognitive bias, but it's just that sense of if you give these tools out to everyone and anyone can have them at any point, people don't value them. Whereas if you make it more selective and people see it as almost a prize or something to help them, they're a lot more likely to use it. We've also had clients that have started taking the technology away if people aren't using it, which can be quite harsh. But I think the point is there really needs to be a very big focus on the human adoption and what are the barriers specifically for different groups to really make it rise. Do we have any other questions from anyone? Thank you. It's been really nice to present to you all today. And James, thank you so much for joining us, and Jean-David. Thank you.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.